If you're in the B2B world, you felt the pain of sales and marketing being out of sync. Well, today, we're diving into the system that's built to fix that exact problem, blended lead scoring and grading. We're going to walk through this from a consultant's point of view, showing you how to turn that subjective guesswork about lead quality into a process that's totally objective and data-driven. Here's our game plan. First, we'll nail down what blended qualification actually is. Then we'll break down the two pillars that hold it all up: scoring, which is all about interest, and grading, which is all about fit. After that, we'll see how they come together in the qualification matrix, and we'll wrap up with how to avoid the common traps that even smart teams can fall into.
All right, so let's start with the big idea. What are we even talking about here? Blended qualification is really the bedrock, the foundation you build to finally bridge that classic gap between marketing and sales. It's all about making sure the right leads get to the right people at exactly the right time.
At its heart, this is all about using cold, hard data. It's a methodology that combines two different lenses. First, you look at a lead's behavior, what they're doing, and we measure that with scoring. Second, you look at their profile, who they are, and we measure that with grading. The whole goal here is to get past gut feelings and make truly data-driven decisions about who's actually ready to talk to sales. This right here breaks it down perfectly. Think of it as two sides of the same coin. Scoring is asking from the prospect's point of view, how interested are they in us? It's all about what they do. Grading, on the other hand, flips the script. It's our perspective. How interested are we in them? That's based on who they are. You just can't have true qualification until you have a solid answer to both of those questions.
And if you need a reason why this matters, well, here it is. A jaw-dropping 79% of marketing leads never turn into sales. A huge reason for that is poor qualification and no real nurturing strategy. This blended approach tackles that problem head-on. It helps you see not just who's ready for sales right now, but also who's a good fit but just needs a little more time with marketing. No more letting good leads just fall through the cracks.
Okay, let's get into the first pillar, scoring. This is where we stop guessing how interested someone is and actually start measuring it. We're basically looking for those implicit buying signals, all the little digital breadcrumbs they leave behind, and we're turning them into a hard number.
So how does this actually work in practice? Well, your marketing software keeps track of every little interaction. A simple visit to your website, maybe that's worth 5 points. They download a white paper? Okay, let's give them 10. But here's the real key. Not all actions are created equal. Someone visiting your pricing page or filling out a demo request form, that's a huge hand-raising signal. Those actions need to be weighted way higher. We're talking 25, maybe even 50 points. As all these points add up, you get a really clear, objective picture of who's most engaged.
All right, now for the second pillar, and this one is just as critical, grading. If scoring was all about their interest in us, grading is all about our strategic interest in them. This has absolutely nothing to do with their behavior. It's all about how closely they match our ideal customer profile, or what we call the ICP.
With grading, you're looking at explicit, factual data. Are they in one of our target industries? Is their company the right size for us? And this one is huge. What's their job title? A director or a VP? They have buying power. An intern? Not so much. A really common and smart way to do this is to start every new lead with a default grade, like a D, and then you can move that grade up or down as you learn more about them and see how well they match your ICP.
And the system is just beautifully simple. It uses a classic A to F scale. An A grade, that's your dream customer, a perfect fit. An F grade, that's an instant disqualification. Maybe it's a competitor or a student. This gives your sales team an immediate, crystal clear signal about how valuable that lead could be before they ever even pick up the phone.
Okay, so we've got our two pillars, scoring and grading. Now for the fun part. Let's put them together. This is where all that theory becomes a really practical, actionable tool, the blended qualification matrix.
Now, before we look at the matrix itself, you gotta do the prep work. And there are 4 key steps. First, and trust me, this is totally non-negotiable, you have to sit down with sales and agree on the exact definition of a qualified lead. Second, figure out what those hand-raising pages and actions are on your website. Third, you set the automatic handoff threshold, like say any lead with a score over 50 and a grade of B or higher goes to sales. And finally, go back and look at your past deals to make sure your model actually works in the real world.
I love this quote because it just nails the entire philosophy. Think about it. The score is the lead sending you a signal, but the grade is you sending a signal to your sales team. You absolutely have to have both to make smart decisions. And here it is, the tool that puts it all into motion. Let's break this down. The top left quadrant, that's your gold mine. High fit, high interest. These leads are sales ready.
Get them to a rep stat. Now the top right, high fit but low interest. This is your future pipeline. Don't send them to sales just yet. Marketing's job is to nurture them and get that score up. Bottom left, low fit but high interest. These can be a huge time waster. They're clicking on everything, but they're not the right customer. Keep an eye on them, but don't waste sales time. And bottom right, low fit, low interest. This is just noise. Get them out of your database so they don't mess up your metrics.
Let's make this super concrete with a few examples from a SaaS company. Okay, scenario A. A CEO from a perfect fit company downloads one white paper. That's a grade A lead, but a pretty low score. The action, they go straight into a high-priority marketing nurture campaign. Scenario B. A student downloads every single thing you have. Sky-high score, but an F grade. Action, do not assign to sales. Finally, scenario C. A director from a target company requests a demo. High grade, high score, that's the jackpot. It hits the threshold, and your system should automatically assign it to a sales rep for immediate follow-up.
All right, last section. Let's talk about how this can all go wrong. Because honestly, knowing the common pitfalls is just as important as knowing the framework itself. Let's make sure you get this right the first time.
The single biggest mistake I see teams make is relying only on the score. We call this the curious intern trap. You see this lead come in with a massive score. They've clicked everything, downloaded everything. They look like your #1 fan. But without grading, you have no idea they're a student with zero buying power and a terrible fit for you. This exact scenario is why grading is an absolutely non-negotiable piece of this whole puzzle.
And let's wrap up with two final, really critical mistakes. First is premature assignment. I know it's tempting to send a lead over to sales because they just seem promising, but don't do it. If they haven't hit the threshold, trust your system. Let marketing do its job and continue to nurture them. The second big mistake is treating your model as a set-it-and-forget-it project. It's not. Your market changes, your product changes, and your model needs to change too. You have to revisit it at least quarterly with your sales team to make sure it's still accurate and effective.